Good morning. Gonna get right into it this morning. Have my coffee, and we are talking this week about limiting lies parents believe. You know, we all tell ourselves stories that are actually fables, and they can get into our psyche and really hinder our growth and dwarf the potential of our children by influencing us in such a way that we take less action, different action, more action, wrong action, because up in here we're thinking thoughts that really aren't truth. But we have been so impressed by our culture and by things other people say to us that it becomes our truth, right? Well, I want to cut across that because I want to help you. If we tell ourselves stories and we behave in ways that we apply our lives to those stories, we can be in big trouble. So today, day number 4, the lie we're going to rip the cover off today is, it's just entertainment, okay? It's just entertainment, right? You know, I'm sure that you have not been living under a rock, and you have got to be aware that anything created for media, especially if it's coming out of Hollywood, has an agenda, okay? A purpose to influence you and your children. You know, I didn't always know that. You just see that, you know, a new Disney movie's coming out, and oh, it's going to be fun, and we're going to take the kids, and we're going to get tickets early, and we've all done it, right? And we don't even consider that as we're sitting there watching it, that we're like not connecting the dots all the time to say, oh, this is the actual story under the story that they're trying to tell me, right? They're trying to persuade me to think the way they think about everything from what to eat to what to vote for to how to parent our children. So we have to keep that in mind. We have to keep our lenses clear, our filters on. I remember even as a young mom, and I'm sure I went overboard. my kids can underscore that, because I was so concerned about protecting their psyche, their heart, their spirit, their mind, that I always had my filter on. I was always trying to read between the lines. I was always trying to see, what are they actually saying? What is the spirit of that? I remember even looking at things like Sesame Street going, okay, is this cool? Everything went through my litmus test, right? And I didn't always get it right, but my intentions were good, and God honored my diligence and my intentionality. So what I want to say to you, Mom, to you, Dad, is don't discount the message under the message. Everything that's coming out on your iPad, TV screen, laptop, phone has an agenda, all right? Okay, one of my favorites, you know, Dr. Caroline Leaf, best-selling author and cognitive neuroscientist. You would just love her stuff. She says this in Switch On Your Brain: as we think, we change the physical nature of our brain. She actually shows slides of living slides of somebody's brain and what's happening within the brain as they are reading a particular thing, watching a particular thing, thinking a particular thing. Look her up on YouTube. It's so interesting. As we think, we change the physical nature of our brain. As we consciously direct our thoughts, we can wire out toxic patterns, okay, and replace them with healthy thoughts. Now that's science, okay? But it's also biblical, because what does the word say? The word says in Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. We've heard a lot about manifest your best life, you know, envision, cast your vision and become what you write on paper, what you look at every day. But actually, that's just stolen from the scriptures, okay? As someone thinks within himself, so is he. What we think, we become. And Dr. Caroline Leaf, the cognitive neuroscientist, is basically saying we can actually erase toxic thoughts and replace them with good thoughts. But entertainment actually is making us think every minute, okay? We're not even aware of it. We just kind of get into cruise mode, and our kids get into cruise mode, and it's just so many times. Garbage in, garbage in, garbage in, garbage in, garbage in, garbage in, garbage in. Toxic thoughts. This is how you should think about sex, and this is how you should think about love, and this is how you should think about marriage. And this is the coffee you want to order from Starbucks. And do you realize that movies sell everything? Okay, so back when Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks were hanging out, I think it was in You've Got Mail, and they went to Starbucks and she ordered a caramel macchiato. And Austin Powers, I saw this on a headline. I've never seen the movie, but Austin Powers ordered some kind of a double macchiato or something. Those became the best-selling coffees that Starbucks had, all right? People learn and act on what they see in movies. I saw this headline. It says, sexually charged TV might raise risk of teen pregnancy. You think? Okay, it's sad, but there is an absolute fact statistically that 1/3 teen girls in our nation will become pregnant at least one time, okay, before she's 19 years old, giving the USA the highest teen pregnancy rate of any industrialized Western nation. So back to that headline. Does sexually charged TV raise the risk of teen pregnancy? Friends, everything our kids are watching has an agenda. Okay, all entertainment, whether they're listening, watching, reading, bouncing, dancing, it all has an agenda. All right. Think about this. Stars are teaching your kids their values. Okay, whether they're following Justin Bieber or Katy Perry, Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, Kim Kardashian, Lauren Daigle, doesn't matter. The stars are teaching your children their values. Okay, so right now we see Katy Perry, all glamorous and beautiful, and she is beautiful, and she sings like a bird, and she's just released this song a few weeks ago, just a beautiful love song about her desire and intent, unveiling her unwed pregnancy with Orlando Bloom, divorced father of 2 or 3, I don't remember. And she's telling this glamorous story with her gazillions of dollars and, their transatlantic flights and it's all, unicorns and stardust. But underneath that, your little girl is going, oh, wow, oh, there she is in Paris. Oh my gosh, she's eating lobster. Oh, they're holding hands on the beach. Oh, this is so awesome. This is true love, right? Because she's telling a beautiful story in beautiful music. It is so seductive, so persuasive. So you just want to push play and replay. It's just lovely. But if you push your finger under the covers there and you realize that, yeah, she's telling her story. She's got lots of options. She's got all sorts of bank accounts and she can live anywhere she wants. But then our little girls look at that and pretty soon they're an unwed mom with a teen pregnancy. Their boyfriend takes off and, they're living Katy Perry's best life without any of her resources. I'm telling you, connect the dots. Connect the dots. Our kids mimic, our kids copy what they're taking in through entertainment, through the stars that they idolize. I know people used to say, Denise, who are your idols? As I was growing up, American Idol. It's a buzzword, but it's so true. And we as parents are to mentor, shape that wet cement, to guide and direct our children toward their heroes. Yeah, we can't do that for their whole life, but we can do that for a good number of years if we are their primary influence. If we are the ones with our handprints and fingerprints and hearts wrapped around them, right? We can be the driving force of directing them to the entertainment that's going to build them up and bless them and build them and nurture them and help them think the right thoughts, okay? So, most little girls who copy Katy Perry's behaviors and values, and they're teaching your children political values as well. Check it out. It's scary. And pretty soon these kids come home and their mamas might be, strong, conservative, whatever I'm not talking political parties, but I'm just saying strong, conservative moral values. And their kids come home one day and announce they are such and such, and they are so and so. And I remember when I came home and told my parents what I think should be legalized, and I would think I was 12. What the heck did I know? I just knew what I was hearing, seeing, taking in, the media that I was watching. And it's not just teen stars, okay, teeny boppers. It's cartoons for our little ones. Have you really taken a look at all of that junk? All right, these innocent looking little animated cartoons are teaching stupid, for one thing. Talk about dumbing us down. Hi, John. Let's eat popsicles, right? I mean, the vocabulary is pitiful. So much globalism, all right? Just watch it. Just watch it all. It erases all the values probably that you want to teach your kid and sort of makes this neutral, for lack of a better word, because no values are neutral, this neutral, dumbed down version of a kid who has his brain whited out and he's ready for anything. The little boys act like little girls. They have no character muscle. They have no wise thinking, or you know what I'm saying? There is so little value in those things, but we just sit our kids in front of it. It's colorful, it's bright, it has music and stupid giggles. I mean, some of these are really weird, right? They're teaching peer dependency. They're impressing a shallow view on life. They've erased all spirituality. There is no God unless there is a God of Buddhism or a God of the universe, a God of New Age. Look at the cartoons your kids are watching. They're just not worth their time. When I was raising my kids, there were valuable things like Superbook and Adventures in Odyssey and Veggie Tales. And those are still available today, along with so many, many, many more. My daughter was sharing with me yesterday some networks they found that are just really wonderful cartoons with good values and some meat on the bones of those things. Something that your kid walks away and goes, that's a good life lesson. That's a good moral of the story. My kids used to watch even the old Batman and Robin. Those were hilarious. Boom, bomb, holy smokes, Batman. They were sweet and nurturing, and they taught good values. And I think about, Bonanza and just so many old shows that still have value today. Little House on the Prairie, all sorts of ones that you can find and that your kids can benefit from, because if they made a very clear line of demarcation between good and evil so many times, and now it's all blurred together, and we know that it's not truly blurred, but Hollywood blurs it to feed it to our children. Okay, so read between the lines. Like I read yesterday and talked about, our children are malleable. They're wet cement. You are forming their DNA. And a huge part of that DNA is formed by the entertainment they're taking in. You're not just killing time. You could be killing your kid's future, all right? And adults are no different. Well, adults are somewhat different because we have a developed filter. If we have values and we're intentional about our thinking and our filters are on. But kids aren't quite yet so selective. They're so vulnerable. They're so impressionable. They are so innocent. And we don't want all that ruined, all that garbage going in through entertainment that is unsavory and unhelpful for their future and how they are going to position themselves in life. This is very real. It's very real. It's a real lie. It's not just entertainment. Okay, so this is so true. And if you get a picture of this, back in the old days when we were hanging wallpaper, my husband and I heard wallpaper's back in, but I haven't really seen it. I'm not a super tuned into fashion and style and decor, but my daughter told me, and she knows. So anyway, my husband and I used to hang wallpaper together for a very short period of time. It wasn't the best activity that we could do together. It's very tedious, and it's something that I found I could do better alone. But when we did it together or alone, we used what we called a plumb line, right? Whenever there's a building, and this is the best I could come up with today for a plumb line. Whenever you're building anything, whether it's a rock wall or if you're hanging wallpaper, you need a plumb line. It usually has a weight at the bottom and you hang it. And it is something that you continually refer back to make sure your lines are straight, your bricks are straight, your tiles straight, whatever it is, your boards are straight. And you use that. It is your point of reference, okay? So as you're having fun, singing, having a dance party, playing your music, hanging your wallpaper, cutting and measuring, you don't accidentally get off and then your wallpaper is sideways, right? That's happened to me too, or upside down. But if you measure it and guide it along your plumb line and you just keep pulling that plumb line out, and then you hang it and smooth it and flatten it, and then you hang it again and check it again. At the end of the day, you're going to be so happy because it's going to be straight and tall. And when your eye comes in the room, it's unbroken by sideways or crooked, right? Plumb lines are so important. But when we are letting our kids just take in everything, all right? So they have a little piece of Katy Perry story, and they have a little piece of Demi Lovato story, and they have they have that song going through their head. I love you, baby. I love you, baby. You know, whatever it is, hot and sexy, I don't know. And pretty soon, and you know, they've got, maybe a little bit of Bible in there, you know, maybe just a little bit from those stories you told them, but basically their plumb line is more like this, right? It's just crooked and it's not intentional. You know, it's a little bit of globalism and a little bit of a whole lot of secular humanism, and, you know, a little bit of Jesus. And so as they get older, they continually measure and adjust their lives to that plumb line. This is fact, okay? This is why teen pregnancy in the United States is leading in the world, because of our sexually charged entertainment, from music to magazines to now everything's online, YouTube, and the plumb line our kids come out with at about age 18 is a scary, scary thing. And if they're measuring their lives, you know, if your kid's life and your life is crooked and messed up, and you're constantly going backwards and sideways and down, and it's not making any sense, and there's no cohesive sense of streamline to your life, it's just lack of peace, lack of progress in the right direction, you can be assured there's some plumb line issues going on. And like Caroline Leaf said, we can take care of straightening that plumb line by getting the toxic out and getting the good in, right? But it's going to take some effort. Oh, it's going to take some work. It's going to take some erasing, and it's going to take some putting back in. And Romans is so clear about that. It says this in Romans 12:2, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world. As believers in Jesus Christ, we are in this world, but we're not supposed to be of this world, smelling like this world, looking like this world, being impressed in our DNA by this world that we live in, this world system that's only taking us down, that's only so much that we don't want our children imbibing. It says, but let God transform you into the new person that you should be by changing the way you think, okay? Then you will know what God's will is for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Changing the way you think is changing what your eyes are fixed on. It's changing what you're taking in. It's changing the recipe for the plumb line you're building, okay? Everything your kid's taking in is building the plumb line that gets in their psyche, their spirit, their heart, their mind, that they will be measuring and adjusting their lives to. Okay, what is it that your kids really believe? What really are their values? Okay, is it that scripture on your wall, or is it everything they're taking in, 12 hours a day through media and through friendships that are also idolizing that same entertainment? Talking about that entertainment, texting about that entertainment, because the 5 closest people to us hugely influence us. Who are your kids hanging out with? It's all connected, friends. It's all connected. Don't copy the behavior and the customs of this world, but let God transform you into the new person you can be by changing the way you think. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Nora Ephron, was such a prolific writer. She was the daughter of writers, and she became a very famous screenwriter with shows like You've Got Mail. Yep, she wrote that. Sleepless in Seattle. Yep, she Harry Met Sally. So many more. She was very, very successful as a screenwriter. But she said this. She said, most people learn their beliefs about love from my movies. Most people learn their beliefs about love from my movies. It's so true. Now, she experienced at least 3 marriages of her own. And the reality versus the fantasy of romantic love, okay, what became clearly evident in her life. Her brilliant writing apparently did not reflect her personal life because she was quite miserable, and yet, on the camera, she presented such wonderful, flawless romantic love. I remember in You've Got Mail with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, I remember Tom Hanks saying, "Oh, if you'll just marry me," something to this effect. "The only thing we'd ever fight about is what movie to watch on Saturday night," right? I mean, how stupid is that? How shallow, how empty, how redonkulous is that, okay? But how many kids just feed on that stuff and press repeat and play it and replay scenes and just oogle over it and just think, that's what I want. I just need a Tom Hanks. I just need a Meg Ryan, right? And so they marry one, and we know where marriages are going this day. I mean, most of them, well, at least half or more are failing. So, friends, entertainment is important, okay? It's just entertainment is a lie. Watch what your kids are watching. Don't come in like a bull in a china shop and tear everything down. Have a talk with them if they're old enough to really, engage with you. And if they're just littles, they won't know when you replace one show with another. They forget so quickly. It's so awesome that we can press restart with our littles so quickly, so easily. And if they do talk, you can persuade them gently with love and the Spirit of Christ and just explain, we're just putting that one away. Let's do this one. And if they really need to know, you can tell them the truth in a kind and gentle way at their level, and they receive it and accept it because you're their hero right now. And you need to seize this day with them, because you will never have this much influence in their lives again as you will between birth and about 7 or 8 years old, when you're their primary influence. And if you homeschool, wow, you can be that primary influence for as long as you want to be that primary influence. It's fabulous. It's wonderful. It's your own private boarding school. And so think about that plumb line today that you are allowing to be built within your child's heart and mind. Is it going to look like this, okay, at the end of the day, with a little bit of globalism, a little bit of a whole lot of secular humanism, a little bit of Katy Perry, a little bit of Super Soul Sunday, a little bit of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Oh, there's the promise box in there, right there, okay. There's the scripture on the wall, yep, okay, right? Or are you going to really be intentional about the plumb line that you're allowing to be built in Junior's heart? Because it's going to make a huge difference in their destiny. It's going to make a huge difference in how they adapt their lives to the truth that they understand to be truth. God bless you. Make it a great day. I'll be back tomorrow with lie number 5. We're going to rip the cover off another one that could possibly be dwarfing your child's potential. Bye-bye now. See you then.